What's up, everybody? It's Dynasty Mir, search for Huru. This is just a quick late night rant. Arik Air versus Ethiopian Airlines. What in the hell happened to Arik Air? And I'm going to tell this story real quick, share this story. I was in New York, headed to JFK Airport to catch a flight. I forgot where, but somewhere back to the motherland from New York, from JFK. And I remember I caught a shuttle from the airport in Newark, New Jersey to JFK. And I remember we had stopped at I want to say what's the other airport in New York? You have JFK and you have the other airport. I can't think of it right now. But I remember we picked up some passengers who happen to be Nigerian. And Nigerians, I love y'all. I'm going to Nigeria in a couple months. Can't wait. But we picked up some Nigerian passengers, and this is about 2 years ago. And we were driving to JFK. We get to the terminal, right? And I remember the terminal was for the Arik Air. The people who are flying on Arik Air back to Lagos from JFK. So we get to the terminal, and I remember the Nigerian passenger was about to pay the shuttle guy, and he gave him $100 bill, and he said, "What? I mean, I don't have change for this $100 bill." So the Nigerian guy was giving him a hard time. But he ended up having smaller change, so he gave it to the shuttle guy, and he went on and caught his flight. The guy that was driving the shuttle looked at me and said, "These Nigerians always pull this. They have large change, and when we can't break it, they use it as an excuse to get off not pay the shuttle because they're running late for their flight." So they do this all the time. I was like, wow. But we really can't hold them accountable, or we shouldn't be upset at them for that, because I think as a business, you should be able to have change no matter what your patrons have. You should be able to break it. So then he brought up how they also bring counterfeit bills and this, that, and the other, and he was like, they're just so shady. And I said, okay. 2 years later, Arik Air is no longer allowed to fly from the US to Nigeria or vice versa. Meanwhile, you have Ethiopian Airlines, who I've personally had my issues with, but I fly them all the time now because they have the most destinations and they're the most affordable when it comes to flying from America to Africa. I'm all over the place, but again, I'm just ranting. LaGuardia, that's it. LaGuardia. I've had my issues with Ethiopian Airlines. In fact, let me show you the videos of the issues I've had with Ethiopian Airlines. Give me 1 second. Again, I'm all over the place, but this is just a random rant on how institution like Ethiopian Airlines, which is a good airline, how they're growing. They have direct routes to America, I think, coming out of LA now, coming out of Chicago, New Jersey, DC, and New York. Meanwhile, Arik Air, which is Nigeria's, I think, national airline, they're not even allowed to fly to America anymore. That says a lot. But let me real quick, let me screen share. So again, I've had my fair share of issues with Ethiopian Airlines. One of them me flying.
Okay, everyone.
Hold on. So this issue I had with Ethiopian Airlines, the first one, I was flying from Dakar, Senegal to Bamako, Mali. And the damn restroom was out of order. This is unacceptable. And guys, I've done videos on this before in regards to, I feel as if, I don't know what it is with West Africa, but the shitty planes get sent to West Africa, especially coming from Europe, and I guess coming from Ethiopia. Now, they've gotten a whole lot better, but I don't know what it is. If you have a layover in Europe and you're catching a European, especially Air France, like I'm trying my hardest not to fly Air France ever again in life. Only reason why I fly Ethiopian Airlines, because again, they have direct flights to Africa. They're less expensive. And then Ethiopian Airlines was founded by a Black American. So that's one of the reasons why I continue to support Ethiopian Airlines. Meanwhile, Arik Air, I don't know what happened. But anyways, the bathroom was out of order. And this is unacceptable. Okay. How is your bathroom going to be out of order? Okay, on a flight? Because I know damn well that if this flight was going to Europe, it wouldn't be out of order. But it's a West African thing. But at the same time, it's West Africa's fault. Because outside of, I don't know if that'd be considered West Africa, it's probably considered more North Africa, Royal Air Maroc. I think they're the only African carrier that flies directly from America to West Africa. Well, to Morocco, to Casablanca. That's usually where your layover is. But when West Africans, specifically Nigeria, when they don't have, especially with all the Nigerians, I would say out of all Africans, all right, Nigerians probably make up the largest demographic of Africans here in America. But we don't have your own national airline that can fly to America. That's an issue. But again, the reason why Ethiopian Airlines can get away with this is because they have no competition in Africa. Ethiopian Airlines, the only competition they somewhat have is maybe South African Airways, but they're expensive. Kenya Airways, they're now able to, I think in November, have nonstop flights from JFK to Nairobi. But the reason why West Africa gets disrespected in this matter, where they would send a plane where the bathroom is out of order, is because they get away with it because there's no West African carriers that are even in competition with Ethiopian Airlines.
I am on the same Ethiopian Airlines flight from Bamako to Addis Ababa.
Oh, sorry, my bad. It's going from Bamako to Addis Ababa. So that's a 6-hour flight, right? I mean, like a 5-hour flight, I think. And they have the audacity to not have a working restroom. But again, when you have no competition, when West Africans don't have their own national airline, okay, that will fly across Africa like Ethiopian Airlines, they can get away with stuff like this. But it's changed a whole lot, though. Ethiopian Airlines has been relatively well, but I haven't flown Ethiopian Airlines again, I think, across Africa. I don't think so. I'm not sure. I don't remember. I think I might have from Bamako to Addis Ababa or to Nairobi. I'm not sure. I don't remember. But again, where are the West African carriers that can fly across Africa?
Of course, we have the tube TVs, and now we have a toilet that I just noticed is out of order. It has been out of order since we got on the flight. So the question becomes, Ethiopian Airlines, when you canceled this flight on the 31st, how long? Why didn't you fix the toilet? Why didn't you fix the plumbing? This is with no question, this Ethiopian Airlines being cheap and not putting money back into their infrastructure. We have a line of patrons trying to use the restroom and have a toilet that is out of service. This is ridiculous. Star Alliance, and this is supposed to be the spirit of Africa, and they have no respect at all for its customers flying throughout Africa. This has to be addressed. So you cancel a flight on the 31st. It's January 2nd, and you didn't have time to find a plumber or a plunger and fix the toilet. And this is, as we say in America, so ratchet. They have the masking tape going across it. I paid $1,400 for this flight, and this is ridiculous. Yes.
I just had to share that. But they're getting their act together. They're getting their act together. Like I said, though, Ethiopian Airlines have gotten a whole lot better, but they're getting their act together. They're doing something right. Ethiopian Airlines is doing something right. But again, my only issue is, no, there was a working toilet, but collagenesis. How are you going to have, okay, a toilet that's out of order? You've already delayed the flight, okay, by like 2-3 days. I paid $1,400 for a ticket. Okay. And again, I'm telling you, they send these crappy planes to West Africa. I don't know what it is. When I have my layover in Europe and I'm going from Europe to West Africa, the planes are crap. But when I go from Europe to East Africa, they're decent planes. I'm gonna do a separate video on that. I gotta go in on that. But there's really nothing West Africans could say about it. It's because you guys don't have a damn national airline, okay, that could fly cross-continental across Africa. Or damn it, I don't think there's an African airline outside of Royal Air Maroc that's close to East. That's close. That would be considered West Africa, but Morocco's, I think, considered North Africa. I don't think there's a West African carrier that will fly direct to Europe. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm going through the list of West African carriers. I don't think there's one that goes to Europe. I mean, they don't even have a lot of these West African carriers. I'm trying to think. I don't think there's a West African carrier that flies to Europe. Maybe Cote d'Ivoire. I butchered that. The Ivory Coast Airline. Maybe. I don't think so. I think if I want to fly from West Africa to Europe, I could probably do a South African Airways, Ethiopian Airways, but that means I would have to fly from West Africa to Joburg or West Africa to Addis Ababa. Kenya Airways, but I have to fly from West Africa to Nairobi. Royal Air Maroc, but I will have to fly from West Africa to North Africa to Morocco to get to Europe, or one of your European carriers. Which leads me to Arik Air. It's a shame that Nigerians probably have the largest, when it comes to the African diaspora, They have the largest group, I would say, if that's the correct term, demographic of Africans from the continent that make up the diaspora out of Africa, and they don't have their own airline. They don't have their own national airline because Arik Air doesn't fly to Europe, it doesn't fly to America. I want to say Arik Air from Lagos, you could probably go to, I think they go to Dakar, Senegal, Ivory Coast, throughout Nigeria. Yeah, West Africa doesn't have a functioning airline. And it was crazy. These West African flights are so expensive. I mean, literally, if I want to fly from Senegal to um, Bamako, Mali, which is the next country, it's like an hour flight. That shit is that's just like $400 for an hour. But I could fly all over Europe for like less than $100. I could fly from like Ethiopia, Kenya, Uganda to South Africa, like that region, very affordable. I could fly from Kenya to Tanzania, $100. But for me to fly from one country to another in West Africa, you're getting hit over the head. My bad. Ivory Coast. I did say it in English. I said Ivory Coast. My bad. So we got to ask, what's going on with these West Africa? Why does West Africa not have a functional regional airline? I got to do another video on this. But again, congratulations to Ethiopian Airlines. I'm still flying Ethiopian Airlines because I have no choice. But it's sad that I have to catch an Ethiopian Airlines flight to West Africa, and I can't catch a West African carrier from America to West Africa. It's sad. I mean, that says a lot. Yeah, I guess they're waiting for Europe or China to build the airplane. I wonder if Rwanda Airlines, well, Rwanda Airlines isn't West Africa. I'm speaking specifically on West Africa. So what happened to Arik Air? Why isn't Arik Air not allowed to fly from Africa to Europe or to America? That's sad. I got another video on that, man. West Africa doesn't have a functional airline. That's an issue. Because it's crazy. I'm running into a lot of cats, a lot of Africans who I've been to more countries coming from America than they have been to living in Africa. I don't think Ghana has an airline, but it flies just within Ghana. Nigeria has Arik Air, but it just flies within a few West African countries. It's just sad because, again, it's just the overall lack of respect that I'm just noticing for West Africa. Because I'm telling you, they send these shitty planes. The shittiest planes come out of Europe that go to West Africa. And then within Africa, the shittiest planes go to West Africa. I don't know. That's an issue that needs to be addressed immediately. I mean, you have ECOWAS, but you don't have a functioning carrier. Ghana Airways went bankrupt due to poor management a few years ago. Goodness. Ghanaian Airways was banned from international flights. But again, you got all these Nigerians or whatnot getting degrees all over Europe. but you don't have a functional carrier. That's a problem. That's a problem. And the flights are expensive as hell. But anyways, I just wanted to share that. Make sure you guys like and share. Congratulations to Ethiopian Airlines. But please, Ethiopian Airlines, do not disrespect West Africans again like that. Okay? Because you will not send that same plane to Europe or to America. So don't ever do that again in life, Ethiopian Airlines. I know West Africa has some issues, but don't ever do that again in life. Make sure you guys like and share the video. Make sure you go to searchforhuru.com, AfricaPersonified.Africa. Make sure you go to Amazon.com, search your name, Dad Spirit, please buy a book. Go to Search for Huru on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and Facebook. Till next time, family. Peace.